Alright guys, G-Funk here, post-fight, Gennady Triple G Golovkin versus Willie Monroe Jr. Well, first thing I want to say is that, hey, I was wrong, man. I picked the underdog to win, and he didn't win. Oh, man. Pretty funny, though. I'd say almost immediately after the fight was over, somebody came back and left me a comment on my prediction video. uh, you know who you are. I'm not gonna say no names, but you know who you are, man. Oh man, it's all good though, man. Hey, can't get them all right. I had a gut feeling and I went with it. But before I actually get into the main event, I want to talk about Chocolatito, who was opened up the show last night with a brilliant performance. Went in there and got rid of his dude in 2 rounds. Man, this guy is phenomenal, man. I like what I seen. I had seen a couple of his fights, watched him on YouTube. It's kind of hard to stay up late at night and watch, Unimas when he comes on and stuff like that. It's when you have kids, man. Sometimes you can't stay up too late. What? I went back and watched some of his fights on YouTube here, and I was already impressed with the things that I was seeing. But I'm glad that he, when he had his chance to get on the big stage, he did his thing and looked impressive doing it. Hopefully they give him a fight deal, HBO, so we can see this guy more often and get a little more excitement into the smaller weight classes. The last time I can remember guys this small getting national attention like this was Michael Carbajal. For those of you who don't know who Michael Carbajal is, he was around those weight classes that Chocolatito's in, and man, he was a good fighter. Man, he had good fights with Chiquito Gonzalez. I remember watching those fights when I was a young kid in the early '90s. Wide World of Sports, ABC, back in the day on regular TV. Those guys, they went to war, those little dudes, man, and it was good to see. And just like last night, man, those guys, it was a lot of action for 2 rounds, and Chocolatito, who's a guy who, says he trained with Alexis Arguello, who's another great champion from Nicaragua. Those guys, man, they know how to punch, man. It seems like all those guys that come out of Nicaragua, man, they got good punches, man. They know how to get guys out of there. But he also's got great technique. And I was very pleased with what I saw out of him. So hopefully we can see some more of him in the future. As for the main event, now I already said in the opening that I was wrong. I picked Willie Monroe to win. I thought that he was going to stay on the outside a little bit more. Use the hand speed, the foot speed to at least go the distance with Triple G. But I'm not trying to make an excuse here for Monroe, but to me, he looked like he was just real nervous. He looked real stiff to me. I think it was more of the being on the big stage. First time on HBO in front of a big crowd like that. I don't think he was afraid of Triple G. Like I said, I just think the moment really got to him early. I think he just didn't look smooth to me, his movement. But sometimes it takes these sort of things to get a fighter going. The knockdowns is what I'm talking about. My grandfather, who's been watching boxing for years, sometimes he would always tell me when we watch a fight, a guy goes down or he gets hurt, and the next thing you know, he comes back strong. He'd be like, sometimes a guy needs a good slap to wake him, to wake him up. Yeah, sometimes that's what it takes, and I think that's kind of what happened here with Monroe. I think he, like I said, to me, he looked a little bit stiff early, and after the knockdowns, we came back in that 4th round and started landing some good shots. Although I don't think he fully recovered from the knockdowns in the 2nd round, but I give him some credit for coming back and making it competitive in the last couple rounds. But to me, he just never fully recovered. Every time he got clipped with something, he was, his legs were buckling and he was getting ready to go down, and he barely made the count in the 6th round. The referee even said, he's like, hey, you barely made it, man. Do you want to continue? And I think it was a smart decision for him to say no, because he just, like I said, he just couldn't recover, and I don't think he was gonna win the fight anyway. He didn't have enough power to keep Triple G off him, and his legs weren't there. So really, what's the point of just taking a beating just to say, hey, I got heart? He showed heart, man. He stood toe to toe with him after the knockdown. He threw his game plan out the window and stood toe to toe with him, and he just couldn't hang. But I did say that if Triple G got him out of there, that I would, jump on the hype train or the bandwagon, whatever you want to call it. But this guy is the real deal, man. This is the type of style that I wanted to see him in there with. A guy like Monroe who can move and use angles, southpaw with hand speed. This is the type of guys that I want to see him in there with, and he looked impressive again. Ain't nobody beating this guy at 160, man. It's just not gonna happen. After the fight, they were asking him about guys who want to fight. It's pretty clear you don't want to see Andre Ward. That's my boy. Northern California. I'm gonna support him because I'm from Northern California also. So if that fight ever does happen, I'll be riding with Andre Ward, no doubt. But I don't think that fight will be happening anytime soon. They keep asking about Miguel Cotto. That's nothing but a money fight to me. Beating Miguel Cotto at this point really does nothing for Triple G, in my opinion. He'll get the lineal title, but so what? People already know that he's the best. Triple G is the best. They already know that. I don't think he needs that lineal title to be the best there. Plus, Miguel Cotto he's just not a middleweight, he's just not to me. So he'd be beating up on an older, smaller guy who's at the end of his career. Really does nothing for legacy. It will definitely get him some money, that's for sure. I know they were talking about Canelo Alvarez. I don't really want to get into too much of that because I just want to talk about Triple G, but I think that would be a good fight, and that's for a future video of who I think would win that fight. But, like I said, ain't nobody beating this guy. The only couple of guys that are really left, I think, are Peter Quillen, Andy Lee, David Lemieux. I don't see any of these guys beating him either. The only guy who I really see making a good competitive fight with him is Lemieux, because I think he's got good enough power to exchange with Golovkin. But Quillen, I just don't see it. Now, after that performance of Andy Lee, I just don't see it. Andy Lee also, he's very chinny. He's always getting hurt early in fights. So, I just don't see any of these guys beating him, man. But, that's pretty much all I got to say about the fight. Got this one wrong. Hey, sometimes you go with the underdog and, you look bad. Won't be the first time, won't be the last time. But you guys let me know what you thought of the performance and who you think Triple G could get in the ring with, and who you think could beat him at 160, if anybody. Well, let me know what you guys think. G-Funk, and I'm out.